Hey guys, it's Rachel from the Little Ring Lamb. Today I have another Top 5 Wednesday day video for you guys, and today is Top 5 Love Triangles. Now, when you think love triangles in books, you typically have a somewhat description of what a love triangle is, but for me, I just want to make sure, so I've looked up a few definitions online, and I kind of compiled a list from that. There's a lot of love triangles that really irked me. And I didn't know kind of the criteria I was picking on, but I decided to just pick love triangles that either had me conflicted, where I loved one party over the other, or where I loved both parties. So, well, that was basically conflicted. But, so this is kind of like an odd compilation of my favorites, but we're just going to jump right into it. So coming in at number 5, we have Dear John by Nicholas Sparks. And I know you guys are probably thinking that I've read this, you're like, what? There's a love triangle in that book? I'm going to digress, but there will include spoilers in most of these books, so if you have not read these books, I suggest turning down the volume or just skipping the video till I'm holding up another book. So I'm going to be saying something that's going to affect this book if you haven't read it, because you will learn a lot. So basically I find that there's a love triangle in this book, because in the beginning we know Tim is vying for Savannah. Savannah, she's not really vying for Tim. She cares for him in like a caring way, but not like a romancy way. And then she meets John and she cares for him obviously in a different way. But Savannah probably, if John hadn't ended up the scene, Savannah probably would have ended up with Tom. But it's kind of like a quasi-love triangle, because Tim is vying for Savannah. Sorry if I call him Tom. I keep saying Tom instead of Tim. But anyway, Tim is vying kind of for Savannah, and John likes Savannah. And Savannah likes John in a more than friends way, and she doesn't see Tim in that way. But then later in the book, she's with Tim. And it's kind of a love triangle again, because she loves Tim because she ended up marrying him, and he's sick right now, but she still has feelings for John, but they're not as strong as they were, I would say. So that's why I'm classifying this as a love triangle. Might not be the ideal love triangle, might not even fit the category, but I'm going to put that in my number 5
Number
slot.
4 goes to The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins.
Actually the whole trilogy, because in the trilogy there's a love triangle. Obviously we know if you've seen the movies even, or just read the books. There's a love triangle between Katniss, Peeta, and Gale. And personally, I favor Peeta over Gale, but that's just because that's what I pick. But I still found this love triangle very intriguing, because there is 2 different perspectives. And at some points, like at the beginning of the book, I really wanted her to be with Gale, but as I read on and on in the series, I want her to be with Peeta in the end. So I found this to be a pretty strong love triangle, because though I do know a lot of people on either Team Gale or Team Peeta, we'll just throw that out there, there's a lot of people on both sides, and I find a lot of people are like, I like that there's not one person that collectively everybody wants to her to be with. I like how there's a divide, which I do like in the love triangle things, because it does make it interesting when you're discussing it with somebody else, and it's just different perspective, and it's nice that that has that. But also I do like when the choice is more narrow, like you know that person needs to be with that person and the other person no. Like I like sometimes that, because that does help make my decision easier and who I'm going to side with. But it's nice in this situation where you can make up your own mind and really decide what side you're going to be on for the person to end up with.
Number 3,
Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. The whole series, technically, prominently starting in book 2 is when the love triangle really blooms. But I do not own the other books, so I'm just going to be holding up the 5th book, Spirit Bound, as a placeholder. And basically there's a love triangle between Rose, the main protagonist, Dimitri, and Adrian. Personally, I'm just going to say team when I say like the side of the love triangles, because it just makes it easier. So I'm on Team Dimitri, just because from the beginning of the book I found they were a perfect match, kind of how she describes it. But also it's kind of conflicted, because I did like Adrian's character a lot. Not so much of the second book, but his character really grew on me. And yeah, I just really like this love triangle, because it started off very clear focus. I knew, I'm not going to speak for everybody else, I knew who I wanted her to be with, and then it kind of got messed up because of the love triangle and kind of got conflicted. And I really like that, because it kind of threw me for a loop, because it actually makes me decide something and not be so indecisive. Number 2, this is Selection Trilogy by Kira Cass. And this trilogy, we have our main characters, America, Maxon, and Aspen. And America is technically in the selection, and that's like basically the running to become the prince's bride. And she, basically that's who you're like, she has to end up with him if she wants to help out her family and do all that. But then you see the soft side of Maxon, see how sweet he is to her. But then we also have Aspen, who was so sweet to her at her house, but kind of went off on a tangent at the beginning, so you're pushed
Throughout
towards
reading
this, and I look at other book reviewers stuff and even blogs and stuff. Not very many blogs I looked at for this series, but just reviews and stuff, and I see there's an overwhelming response on a lot of people are on Team Maxon compared to Team Aspen, and personally that's who I like, Team Maxon. I liked Aspen's character, but I didn't think he was a right fit for America, and I really liked how the whole series ended up. It really helped resolve the love triangle and kind of put not a band-aid, kind of patched it up. So this love triangle is pretty prominent in the books, and even though I knew which way I wanted her to go, and a lot of people feel the same way probably as me, at the same time, America's a very stubborn character, and you don't know which way she's gonna go. So she was more frustrating in the love triangle because of her flip-floppish ways. If you've read The Elite, you know all about her annoying tendencies of her character and her indecisiveness. I think the readers, usually the readers I find are more indecisive over the love triangle. Not to say more than the character, but I feel like the readers were more sure of what should happen than the actual character, which is kind of rare because usually either the character and the reader are both kind of conflicted over which way the story's going to go or which person, I guess, the main character should be with. But I feel like the readers were more decisive than America. Number 1 is the Summer I Turned Pretty series, and specifically We'll Always Have Summer, and this is a series by Jenny Han. And I read this series before I started doing BookTube, so there's no reviews of these up on my channel. But I loved this series. I really want to reread it again soon. But this book, yeah, I think I read it right before I started my BookTube because I don't have any reviews on these. But I talked about this, I think, in 2012, my yearly favorites or something like that. And I gave this one the most conflicted award because this is the most frustrating love triangle because I think both guys are perfect for the main character, Belly. There's 2 brothers, Conrad and Jeremiah. And in this book, it kind of comes to a standstill. This is major spoilers, so if you've not read this, I suggest not listening to this. But basically, Belly, you all know if you've read this, that she is getting married to Jeremiah, but Conrad's kind of on the back burner. Not really the back burner, but she's kind of over him. But then Conrad comes back, and then it's Jeremiah's really good, but Conrad's really good for her. So it's so conflicting. I still can't decide which team I'm on. But I just really liked this, and I found this to be the best love triangle because it's the most frustrating love triangle. But this is such a good series, and the love triangle being frustrating just makes it even better, I think. So yeah, that has been my top 5 love triangles. Sorry this has been very long, but I just felt I needed to clarify why I picked these choices. Once again, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.